live.
Woohoo! Hey.
Hey, it's a wet, wet Osaka day.
Nothing wild about it, but it sure is wet.
Yeah, we get that.
Kind of windy, too.
The tease, we get that weird tease of like, it's summer. No, it's not.
Yeah.
The spring is coming. No.
It's warm, 20 degrees there. No.
Yes, this is when so you got hay fever and then everyone gets sick because of the wild temperature swings.
And then COVID on top of that.
Yes, that's good. Yeah, they might be the quasi emergency.
Oh my God! I didn't even realize that was still on.
Right.
So how toothless it is.
So
Jesus.
Next week, we may be released from the grasp of the quasi lockdown.
You won't even notice it. It'll just be like,
right.
Yeah.
I'm sure just some, businesses.
I've noticed basically no difference in
right.
operating hours and crowds and stuff. Just like.
Yeah, and even though kids are getting it, they're sending them to school, just relentlessly.
Yeah.
Fun. But I think we learned in 2020 that it just warps and twists kids to just like leave them at home in front of a computer screen and expect them to educate themselves.
Oh, well, yeah, that's fair. If you just leave them at home and expect everything to like be normal
right.
or like the way it was before, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah. All right. Oof. All right, so
cool.
Let's. I got something fun coming up tomorrow night.
Ooh, yeah.
Talking to the Chronopia guys. So Ilias and Marcin from the new Chronopia project. I think they're just using it's just Chronopia. Like Warzone is Warzone Eternal, so they want to reflect it's going to be a different rule set. But I think with this one, there's just a few minor additions. They're sticking with the rules are still stat lines and rules are pretty similar to original Chronopia.
It's been forever since I looked at the books that are falling apart, and I might even have them anymore, but I think there's something like 11 stats.
Yeah, it's quite a few.
Seemed more than I remember, but anyway.
Yeah, there's a lot. Yeah, and they're going to do stat cards, so it's going to be
nice.
On either side. So it looks good, and they're going to use original art. They got new art. They've got good sculpts. Yeah, and so we're going to see the fun thing that they've been teasing is they're going to be releasing miniatures that were never released. So the sculptor started with some of the stuff that we saw only the wax sculpts or the green stuff kind of sculpts. We saw those, but Target Games never produced them, and they're going to start with some of those. So that's fun. All right. Well, hey, everyone. Let me just take a quick look in the chat. Hey, Matt, how's it going? And Orcus, good to see you. Yeah, it's been a while since you caught one. Nice. Orcus Dorcas is here. And Alvaro. Nice. Oh, very good. Oh, and Alvaro's been playing the AlienRPG.
Nice.
Yeah, we got a little bit about that. So yeah, that's good. And we got the third.
Which I almost pulled the trigger on pre-ordering.
Oh yeah. We gotta play those. We gotta get that
together and do something.
Yeah. We must meet in person at some point eventually. That's the master plan. But I'm curious about the third one, like how that's going to be set up. Oh, I read a teaser. It sounds like scientists. Like it might be a lot of the pre-gens might be scientists because you found it and trying to figure out
what it is.
Yes, and how to monetize it.
Of course. Yeah.
Nice. So good to see everyone in the chat. Nice. Yes, the ginormous. Yeah, just because we're going to talk a little bit about Alien. All I had related, all my Alien books are at home, is Nemesis. So yeah, this is.
And I have some of them too. Hey.
Yeah, right. This is the sequel to the original Nemesis board game, Nemesis Lockdown. So you're it's an underground laboratory on Mars, I believe. But they released a bunch of expansions that you can play in both.
Oh, cool.
Different types of xenomorph, more plant-like or more zombie-like.
Cool.
I think. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff now for this game. Yeah, and I keep hearing, we played it once and messed up the rules a little bit, but it was still pretty fun. But I've heard kind of mixed reviews. Like very early on, the randomness of this can like get you in a situation where it's just like, this is so hopeless. But I guess that's an old trope all the way back from the.
But is the original? I didn't play the original, or this one, but is the original solo?
You can play because it's cooperative.
Right,
you can, but there's like there's a kind of secret agendas that everybody has to it's similar to what they because it's Alien.
Yeah.
Because it is Alien, just renamed. But yeah, you have like things that you're attempting to do, but also the interaction between the characters. You can help, you can assist each other with your special.
Yeah, my thought is like, if it's kind of if it's procedurally generated.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they can test until it gets down to like, point whatever % of this chance happening. But
right. Yeah. So
sometimes it does.
If the queen comes out too early, you're not doing well.
And first card up, just says you're fucked. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
So how are we gonna play this out? Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And the problem with these like really complicated board games is there's so much setup. So if it goes south really fast, you're like, oof, okay, should we just reset or what should we do here? This took a while.
Yeah.
All right, but beautiful miniatures. All right. So let's get going for this week. Yeah, a little bit of everything and some tabletop related. All right. Welcome to the Weekly. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Chris.
And this week on the Weekly, AlienRPG tie-in novels.
Oh.
Return of the Gold Box Games.
Okay.
The Cyberpunk Kickstarter, CBR+PNK Kickstarter. And a Kickstarter record. Broken last year. And hopefully it's not blockchain related.
Jeez.
All right. So yeah, let's start off with the Alien RPG. So Free League and Titan Books have announced that they're going to team up and give us Alien Universe novels that are going to be directly tied to the campaigns that were already written. So the events of the campaigns, I guess because it's pre-gen characters, for the cinematic adventures.
Well, also, yeah, I'm going to do a huge disservice because I forget the author's name.
Oh, the Andrew EC Gaska?
Yes. Isn't he kind of like a writer in terms of like other books?
He came from the IP licensed novels, novel world, definitely.
That definitely doesn't mean you can't write an adventure game scenario, but like it's kind of like, okay, if you got like an author to kind of write these cinematic adventures, why not?
Oh yeah. No, it's a obvious logical next step. So he's going to be overseeing. So he's written the those three cinematic adventures, and kind of overseeing, kind of maybe coordinating how these are all going to tie in. So other authors, I think the only one they announced is the first, and I don't have that in front of me, but the first author they announced they'll be working on the first novel that will be tied in. Is not him, but he's going to be overseeing it himself. And I was really surprised how well those adventures worked. So obviously he has some game experience as well. There must have been something, or just, in his personal life, he could structure those adventures so it took into account, a lot of the things the players might try to do because they were pretty extensive.
Or do you think, and that's certainly one possibility, and actually both of these are possibilities, but they're cinematic scenarios.
Right.
They're meant to play out like a movie or a book or other kind of media, and you do have to, of course, the GM game mother has to adapt to what the players do. Otherwise, it's just a railroad. And why don't we just go watch a movie instead, right?
Right.
But there's still those three acts. So I've looked at Chariot of the Gods, we looked at Destroyer Worlds. Haven't looked at Heart of Darkness because it's not released yet.
Right.
But each of those has the 3-act structure, and things kind of escalate and whatever. So I wonder if it's just kind of like, I've written not a novel or a screenplay or whatever, but here's a story idea. Let's find areas where the players can actually affect stuff.
Yeah, right.
Anyway.
No, I think that's true. Yeah, I was just really surprised with the first adventure that we played. Like, John was kind of trying to find some interesting things to do, and it all still made sense. Like it all like hit some of the hooks in the adventure and stuff. Like, that's amazing. That's a well-written adventure if someone can be trying to subvert things, or kind of like, let's see where I can go with this, and it's still it's still working really well. Yeah, I was. Yeah.
But I agree. I've gotten a bit off track here, but I think that could still have been broken. Right? And not by anyone, just if everyone sat at the table, man, fuck this game. I'm going to do this, right? Like, there are ways to break it. And
right. Yeah,
I've
yeah,
said
yeah.
before, like, I don't think it's the author's job to anticipate and try and prevent that. Right?
Yes, right,
So-
right. No, that's true. Yeah, if people give up kind of the spirit of what they're doing, or just kind of, they obviously have these agendas and this type of character, and they're totally gonna,
Or just, I've had a shit day and I'm going to be passive aggressive and ruin this game instead of sitting out, right?
Yeah, there was a little bit of that, and we have it on tape. So if you'd like to watch, we recorded it. So if you'd like to watch our actual plays, you can see who was having a bad day and who was trying to shit on the campaign.
Not me. Not me.
Not naming any names. Not naming any names.
I
But-
did eat during one of them. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. That was fine. All right, but Andrew Gaska wrote on Facebook. He said, "As you likely know, I am the lead setting writer for the Free League Publishing AlienRPG and a freelance consultant for the Alien franchise. It's long been a goal of mine, to link expanded universe releases of any beloved property so that the licensees can work together to build content settings. So last year, I worked with Cold Iron Studios to sync the in-universe histories and storylines for the Alien video game Fireteam Elite with the RPG. So they actually have a connection in setting. I'm happy to announce that I've been coordinating with Titan Books to further connect the Alien expanded universe. So I've written one-act scenarios for the Alien RPG. That will be included in the back of Titan's April novel, Alien Colony War.
Well,
so
now I'm way more
there-
interested.
Yeah. So wow. So it's actually going to be adventure. Yeah. So a scenario included in. Okay. Well, that makes the novels a lot more interesting as well.
Although they do say one act.
Yes.
And I think I was in touch with the person who actually wrote the Hadley's Hope thing, and they had originally written it as like a 3-act, but just for space in the book, and unfortunately got cut down to like, they were like,
Right.
here's the 3rd act, or here's the 2nd act. And I remember I tried to reverse engineer it, and coming from Cherry to the Gods to that one, I went, wow, shit hits the fan like real quick, and this
Yeah,
feels
yeah.
kind of rushed
That's
for space issues.
Right.
I wonder if they're going to do the same thing, where if it's going to be like, okay,
Right.
is it going to be apart from the book, where it's like, okay, here would be the 1st act,
right.
or here's the middle act, or is it going to be like, here's act 3 where everything's gone belly up, whatever.
Interesting. Yeah, I wonder. And since you had the book, you could actually, like you're talking about, reverse engineer the first 2 acts and say, okay, well, we know in the novel this is kind of how events happen, so we're going to kind of rewind. Yeah, but that would be true. If it is 1 act, it's probably going to be the most exciting.
Or do they mean kind of like, no, because he probably would have said cinematic scenario instead of 1 act. So.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's interesting, and interesting to tie things together. I didn't even know there was an actual video game tie-in, and that helps a lot with, getting people to jump different types of media. It's like, oh, well, we're enjoying this game. Okay, let's see if the novels are any good, or let's see if
Right.
if this is a fun thing to play game-wise. So that's cool. So the scenario is directly connected to the novel's events, and I'm doing the same with the 2 future novels as well. So we've got 3 total novels that are going to be doing this, a story with a scenario, 1-act scenario. So whether you're a fan of RPGs or Alien in general, you can pre-order yours. Wow. So we'll see how that goes. I'm very curious.
I wonder
now.
what shipping to the States is.
Yeah,
or I wonder what
right.
shipping over here is.
Right. Not good, I
Yeah.
imagine. But we can all chip in and pass them around.
Okay, we'll pass around this one book. What are we? High school? Yeah.
Nice, but so that was a fun thing to see, and I'm glad that they're able to, and we're seeing that the Embracer group is giving companies
Face hugger group.
the ability to do that as well, because they've absorbed Dark Horse and things now, so we may see a lot more of that crossover. Same storyline, kind of same universe into different types of media, because the rights are all able to be shared.
Right. I wonder if Titan Books they must have an agreement with Disney now, I guess.
Yeah, that's
for
right.
their to have access to the Alien IP.
Right.
And I wonder what kind of deal Free League had to make, because if this was, it's not an original setting, but I was thinking like if it's an original setting, or if it's an IP, rather than only do role-playing game material, right, which takes a while to develop, I could see a company going, let's get a book deal too. right?
Mm-hmm.
A way to kind of maximize the use of this IP we have, but that might not be the case of what's going on here, since I'm sure different groups own the IPs to produce different kinds of media.
Yeah, and maybe the license to have such a broad, it would be maybe too expensive, especially for a company like Free League. They may not be at that point yet. And also Titan Books has their distribution and marketing channels and everything down, so they would probably be better. Because I know a lot of these companies for their original IPs produce novels to try to give some flavor. Like they have a novel written for a Kickstarter and it becomes like a free bonus or a stretch goal to add it in there. But it is a very, kind of afterthought, and you wouldn't ever see it at retail or anything. But that's pretty cool that Gaska has kind of he's overseeing Alien stuff. So when Alien stuff comes up, it's like, well, this guy he's kind of coordinating everything. So why don't we see where the universe is? And I don't know, I'm still not convinced, having read through the book, the world that they're using for the AlienRPG, I'm still trying to figure out how interesting that is, like the different corporations and kind of the tensions there. It's like, yeah, okay, I guess maybe some more media that showed me some examples of those kind of dynamics and how they're kind of undermining each other and stuff. Because I like that tension, like in a universe like The Expanse or even like Mutant Chronicles, the corporation tension is really interesting. But I didn't really, from reading the backstory in the Alien RPG, get a good feel for that. And
do you think it's kind of a bit of a reverse, I guess, going off on media here, where I've watched like one episode of The Expanse. There's some kind of existential threat in that, if I'm not mistaken. Right. But in Alien, they're horror movies, so it's like existential threat in your face. Well, there's also some corporate bickering going on about here that kind of exacerbates the situation. Where it seems like the other ones are a bit like corporate bickering.
Yeah, right.
And oh, by the way, there's this real nasty thing going on back here. Do you want to? No. Oh, okay, right. So they seem kind of flipped.
I see.
Alien, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, because Alien puts it. Yeah, it gets bad fast. And
yeah.
It's like, the planet's going to be taken over by these things. Yeah, that's true. Well, nostalgia time.
Ooh.
So there was an announcement, and kind of a surprising announcement. I don't know if the demand was really there, but the Dungeons and Dragons Gold Box games are back.
Okay.
So if you remember those PC games, those old DOS games with the gold metallic boxes that were the old first and second edition adventures for D&D, and very simple, kind of like, you click the up button and you move forward one square and you rotate, and it's but the kind of prototype or the early version of what became Baldur's Gate and a lot of the very popular PCRPGs. But they will be available. So, from starting in 1988, the series of Gold Box games was produced by TSR, then TSR, and SSI, software developer SSI. And these were all these were adventures that were set in Forgotten Realms, so Ravenloft, and then also Dragonlance and Greyhawk. And they are returning now. So 2022, we are getting them back. So publisher SNEG will be resurrecting all of these games on Steam, and they're not just going to throw them out there. They're kind of putting a big kind of push behind this. This is pretty impressive. That they will be updating these old games with some extras, so kind of cleaning up some of the graphics, and also giving you the ability to take the same party from each adventure and then move them into the next one.
Okay.
So so their little announcement was launched in 1988. Gold Box series of computer role-playing games are beloved by millions of players worldwide. Veteran Dungeons and Dragons players and CRPG newcomers alike enjoyed these games and their variety of unique settings and challenges. So whether it's exploring high fantasy worlds of the Forgotten Realms and in Dragonlance, or surviving the brutal hellscape of Dark Sun, or battling a supreme vampire in Ravenloft games, there are Gold Box games for everyone. So grab your sword, spellbook, or bag of holding, and get ready to return to the nostalgia-laden adventures later this month. So we're looking at March 29th for the release of several games, 22 games.
Wow, that's more than several. Okay. What if I don't enjoy spell slot turn-based combat? Then you got a game for me? No.
You're kind of screwed. And it's really simple graphics with it's just a grid of, there's a window in what you're doing, and it's very old school DOS
Well,
adventures.
I was wondering, as someone who is kind of like not interested, but at least aware of digital archiving and how like, you know, certain things just disappeared because nobody thought to save it. And the creator goes, we're done or whatever. Or with you know, streaming service being like, we're going to try commercials in this thing. And like, nobody's recording these. And if someone chooses not to release them, they're just kind of gone. Anyway, so it's interesting that these are getting brought back. I wonder, excuse me, I wonder what kind of market that is.
Oh, yeah, right. Well, going on Steam is, you know, probably the best possible place for people to find them. And them pushing it that, you know, we've put a lot of work into these. And so this is and maybe just, you know, getting people to that either know of them or are curious about what DOS, you know, computer RPGs were like in the late 80s.
I'm wondering, because it was, okay, I never actually played a gold box game. But my first computer was a Commodore 64, and with it we got a copy of Wizardry, which might as well kind of be the same thing,
yeah,
right?
Very
like,
similar. Yeah,
very
yeah,
similar.
right.
Like all you get is like this line drawing of a perspective hallway, and oh, there's a door over here, a passage over here, and oh no, some like green CRT screen monster popped up, right?
Right.
So I'm wondering what this is going to look like. Because if you say we've put a lot of work into updating the graphics, like to the point it looks like Elden Ring.
Yeah, right.
No,
Yeah.
but I don't know. My thought here is they could be shooting themselves in the foot. Maybe not by saying we've updated these graphics and we put a lot of work into all this stuff. And if people go, it still looks like shit, right? And it's like, but how much can you do to an old like DOS era game?
Right.
So that's kind of. Seems kind of weird and maybe a problem, a potential problem for them to say, we've really cleaned this up, when they could just say, we've resurrected these things.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe I'm being too cynical.
It seems like that they just, from the screenshots that I saw, they just kind of updated the pixel art in them. It's still the same clunky interface and everything. And so we're going to see... You know, the thing that's nice historically about it is we're going to see that direct translation that was made between, you know, pen and paper, tabletop into computer gaming, and how they started to kind of affect each other because there started to be fans of one or another, and that was an interesting time because there was some back and forth, and I think it went a little sideways by the time we got to 4th edition, but there was a lot of that. Yeah, so here's a little bit more of what they're doing. So they're enhancing the games with new features. There will be a gold box launcher specifically so you can have your whole library there. Okay. The adventuring parties can move between games. Okay. Enhanced DOS box support, so it'll run on any sort of modern computer. Okay. There will be a companion app that will handle dungeon mapping, update journal entries, and allow you to access spell books. So separate, so maybe things that you couldn't do within the DOS interface, you're actually going to be able to do in an app now. So you're going to be on your PC holding your smartphone, and I'm curious. I have to see what this is like how this is going to work, because it may be a real fun way to go back into these old adventures and, you know, see that weird translation, because it is such a relic of that time. And anybody that hasn't experienced that or came from MMOs into fantasy RPGs will really, this is the mindset, this is the space. Just
will they go, what the am I looking at?
Right. I don't like this anymore.
www. I'm just going to and I'm like, what? This sucks.
Alt F4, Alt F4.
Yeah.
So a list of some of the games that are going to be released is in the Forgotten Realms. It's going to be the Archives Collection 1, which is Eye of the Beholder 1, 2, and 3. Forgotten Realms Archive Collection 2, Curse of the Azure Bonds, Gateway to the Savage Frontier, Hillsfire, Pools of Darkness, Pool of Radiance, Secret of the Silver Blades. Okay, I'm not going to read all 21, but the Crine series, Champions of Crine, Death Knights of Crine, and the Dark Queen. Dark Sun is Shattered Lands, and Wake of the Ravenger. Ravenloft is Strahd's Possession and Stone Prophet, and then D&D Stronghold and Al-Qadim, the Genie's Curse.
Yeah. They're Arabian Nights one. Yep.
Oh, that's interesting too. I mean, there's not going to be a lot of the story, but there may be some of the artifacts from, you know, early TSR, like how they treat certain races or certain cultures or whatever. So we're going to see like a direct translation of some of that we probably haven't seen in computer games for quite a while. So yeah, I wonder if they've gone through any of that, because obviously if they're doing this, they have the source code.
Yep,
they're not like reverse engineering compiled code to bring us these games. But but this company has a history. They did Siege of Avalon and Blade of Darkness already, kind of old school titles.
Okay.
So they have some love and experience of doing this. So, and from the screenshots, it looks like they did a decent job. It's much more pleasant to look at, even if it is the same old, that same old clunky interface. But it's charming. I'm sure when we're in our nursing home, we'll love clicking that W.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah. They won't even be attached to anything. Just like, Sorry.
All he does is click that W. All right. But we've got something nice coming in the modern world. with, I guess there's kind of nostalgia baked into this setting as well. But a Predator-inspired adventure featuring the Forged in the Dark mechanics. Forged in the Dark RPG is the CBR+PNK Cyberpunk Kickstarter.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah. So the specific adventure the new thing that's kind of being added to this. So this is not a gold box. It's more like a fluorescent yellow box.
Yeah.
The new adventure for this set, and these are these are rules light, Forged in the Dark, and actually like even for Forged in the Dark, rules light.
Yeah,
So it's kind of a stripped down version of even those. So this isn't the adventure that's included in one of these pamphlets is a kind of 80s film inspired Predator adventure. And so the inspiration was Predator, Annihilation, or Firebase, and so kind of 80s Schwarzenegger style thing. So so just Predator with all the vowels removed. PRDTR is the invention. It comes with an adversary system that determines how the hunter acts. So
cool.
I guess you are being hunted, right? The Predator is coming up to you, and you're constantly shaving, or you're telling your mama jokes or whatever.
I ain't got time to bleed. Yeah,
that's right. So, the quotes are going to be flying, and and also an optional assignment system that offers players secret agendas. Cool. So a nice way to do that. So that's one of the pamphlets that's included. They're also including Framework, a pamphlet with guidance for game masters, plus Weird, a supplement that allows you to create scenarios and elements, kind of injecting magic into this cyberpunk setting. And all of that is going to be in a new limited edition box called Augmented. So 8 separate pamphlets that are designed to help players and GMs. And so inside this version will be 2 of the core rule books for players, 1 for the game master, and these are, by books I mean like gatefold pamphlets that are really beautifully designed, very thematic and everything. And and also there are new rules for this game that will allow you, that's been available digitally for a long time. Will allow you to upgrade characters on the fly, and new rules for gameplay, including epilogues and harder threats in the system itself.
I think I backed this already, and I had Cyberpunk CBR+PNK. I think I had like one of the pamphlets where I had the original game, and it's basically just like 2 trifold pamphlets. And the reason I think that there are so many extra pamphlets is the assumption for that first game was all previous runners were collecting you for like one last job.
Oh, right.
Kind of like, don't mess it up. Like that was one of the taglines, right? So the game kind of definitely had an end where it's like, doesn't have to be one shot, but we're going on this one last mission, right? So that's why everything was kind of stripped down. I think that's why a lot of the pamphlets in this book are going towards kind of extra support, where it's kind of like, okay, GM, you kind of want to turn this into a running thing. Well, here's how to make missions. Oh, players, you want to continue to advance your characters. Great, here's how to do that.
Right.
So that's why you've got like not Nemesis system. That's the Nemesis system, right? You've got like an adversary system.
Right.
And you got all these. It sounds to me like this is a toolbox to keep doing things with Cyberpunk, rather than something like Cyberpunk 2020, where it's like, here's your whole game, where it's like, no, here's your tools to do what you want with this kind of version of the game. So
nice. So the game was written by Emanoel Melo. He's the designer and illustrator and art director, with the publishing being Mythiopia. That's Ray Chow. And the cover art was Louise Melo.
Yeah, I really like all the the way it's designed. That's what
yeah.
attracted me. And that's one of them like, oh, why can't I have a printer that prints all the way to the edge?
Yes.
Because trifolds don't work when you got to shrink it to fit on.
Right. Yes. So this will be available. It'll be live until April 7th, and a pledge of just $8 will get you the PDF versions of everything that they're offering. And we're going to be seeing those available in June. Yeah, that's the fulfillment date. So they were successfully funded on Kickstarter already. And Kickstarter is now very proud of the fact that over 100 tabletop games made over $500,000 on Kickstarter last year. So for the first time, they broke the record of they've got 100 $500,000 tabletop games.
Wait. Oh, okay.
So whether or not that was the goal, they all made $500,000.
No, I was trying to parse that, because it could go either way. It could be these 100 games together broke over $500,000, or each one of these 100 games individually broke it, and it's the latter.
Yeah, right.
Okay,
and so 10% of that goes to Kickstarter.
Yeah.
10% of your.
I mean, it is impressive, right? Like.
Yeah. Oh, and the interesting thing about this stat is this is the first time that tabletop and board games have beat video games as far as production. So, video games took a bit of a slump, and tabletop did really well last year. Although, we don't know how sustainable this is. It may just have to do with, and also the funny thing about Kickstarter is, this is pledging, this is people having faith that you can do this. This is ignoring supply chain, paper mill problems, like all the supply of all the things that we're seeing. They haven't fulfilled these games yet.
Like I wonder what.
So we could have of those $500,000 projects, we could have some refunds coming.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, okay, of those 100 projects, did all of them delivered?
Probably not if they're all 2021. Yeah,
fair enough.
Yeah,
Okay,
probably not. But but they're pretty proud of this new stat, and so that meant that over 3,500 games hit their target in 2021. Of course, less than $500,000 games, but we have seen. I mean, this I don't think is that surprising because we have seen so many companies taking big IPs, Batman and Hellboy and all kinds of things to Kickstarter, stuff that kind of has a built-in audience. Why are you taking this to Kickstarter and eclipsing people that are trying to get new properties and original IPs going when you're just supporting Batman or like all these video game crossovers? There's every single popular console game now seems to have a board game adaptation.
But I mean, I guess like I can be angry about it, but I can't blame them because like the way I always say is like, okay, my feeling after a certain point, companies have to take a risk that they've kind of established themselves enough. And I'm sure companies are going, let's minimize risk wherever we can.
Right.
So Kickstarter this bitch. Right?
Yeah.
Because that way, oh, sorry, we didn't meet our funding goal. We don't make anything, but we also don't lose any of the money that we took. And it's a win-win, right?
Yeah, I wonder if you can build that into your license too with the companies with like, hey, this wasn't even popular enough for us to fund a single board game. We're not paying for this license anymore.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. That's what we're probably going to see next. Kickstart to get a license.
Right. I'm sure. Yeah, that is built into a lot of these because these aren't huge companies that are doing this. These are some of the kind of small, medium-sized tabletop companies that are getting these IPs and doing this. So I still respect Free League a lot for only taking their original IPs to Kickstarter and kind of getting a feel for the popularity. And Alien and Dune and everything, not Dune, but
Blade Runner.
Blade Runner. Everything goes straight to the.
Well, I think that's maybe their because Alien you could pre-order because we played the pre-order, right? So that Alien was pretty complete. So like they had already done a lot of work before they released the pre-order thing. And I was only because I was thinking like, okay, we're doing Free League is doing pre-orders for Heart of Darkness as well now, like the third cinematic book. So, again, more respect to them for not going to Kickstarter, saying we have something that we think is going to be a hit. We've established ourselves with other properties to not go to Kickstarter, so let's hope.
And hopefully, that's what a company should do if they are going to be using Kickstarter to kind of, test the waters for things, is things that they're kind of guaranteed, home runs. They should, they should have a nice balance between those things. Because some of the board game companies that have really, like Come On and stuff seem to really run themselves into the ground. So they can't do original things anymore. They just have to keep recycling. Now we're doing a Marvel thing. Now we're doing, it's got to be all IPs, because they're stuck on this treadmill of, we need this, couple million to finish up funding the thing we just did. It's kind of this like weird time-lapse Ponzi scheme thing that they're doing.
Well, unless and until they start getting into NFTs and crypto.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's coming up. But they did also talk a little bit about, the marketplace is starting to get a little bit of competition. GameFound, which was only started last year, and I guess was basically used as maybe like a pledge manager before, is now you can directly pledge, directly support projects only with GameFound. You don't have to go through Kickstarter.
Cool.
And if you've already set up an account because someone has used GameFound as their pledge manager, you already have an account. Nice. So that beats that. So they raised about $22 million in 2021 for tabletop games, and they're only board games. So that's pretty impressive. And then itch.io is also going to they're not crowdfunding, but it's a marketplace. Right. So yeah, very interesting. But I have found a solution for your life. So you can
you know what's wrong in my life?
You can leave your notice. You can give your notice right now, and you can be starting your new position, because Kickstarter has opened applications for paid positions on Community Advisory Council board. They're a little group of people. So you're going to have to tell them what they should do as far as like making decisions regarding the blockchain and other user-focused issues. So this is what they need your advice about. Right. So apply for that right away, because it is a paid position. I'm sure it doesn't.
I wonder what the pay is.
Pay very regularly.
Well,
it's like a focus group, kind of like to give you a coffee and a donut. And but so that was funny. That was another thing that popped up about Kickstarter. Is now they're trying to get paid opinions from people about. So what is this blockchain thing? NFT? What do you guys think?
Bear in mind, like your answer will dictate when we send you that check.
Yeah, right.
That's what I'm wondering.
If your answer makes us a lot of money, then
sure. Like pay people for, the job they're doing or their time or whatever. But this seems kind of sketchy.
Yeah.
It's like we'll pay you to tell us what we want to hear.
Right. Yeah. But wouldn't it be cool if you get like a little gold badge? You'd be like an advisory council, Kickstarter advisory council, and you can you have some authority. Maybe they have a nice cut suit.
You did that. I'm thinking like you get some kind of like little lanyard that says advisory council. Yeah.
With a big green K on it. Yeah. So Kickstarter just having all kinds of success and profiting from a pandemic.
Yeah, well,
as everyone is trying to do at this moment. So that is the good and bad news of this week. It
wasn't all that bad. Yeah.
Yes. So I'll forward you that application, and you can.
Hey, you know what? Can't pay much worse than my current job. So.
Right. Yes, and you can pay American taxes on that.
Oof. No, thank you.
All right. So where can people find you?
On Twitter, as always. That's Hivemind, HYVEMYND, where after a while, I think I'm talking about Sludge and Turnip 28 again, where I've made a horrible mistake.
Oh, no.
It's not that big, right? Plus, I've realized the reason I kind of stopped talking about them, in addition to not having a lot of time, was because I realized, my modeling skills are shit.
Oh, no.
And so, I don't really, my skills at historicalizing these miniatures has gone to rust, which means, I can't field these things, because otherwise it's just those are Prussian infantry and those are American War of Independence British troops, right? And, I don't want to play historical miniatures, right? So I'm looking at the things going, they're too historical. And also the mistake I made is also the British troops, they're all march pose, right? They're all doing they're all kind of, none of them are fine. And I'm I like my models to be a little bit more dynamic. I should have realized that before. But those tricorn hats suck me, and I'm just so when I got a shit ton of hats, a lot of bodies I can't use. But I bit the bullet and bought the official. Actually, I don't know why I'm doing the thing. Bought the official Sludge war game head conversion kits.
Oh, nice. Uh-huh.
They were kind of pricey. It was like $30 for 54 resin heads. Then you tack on international shipping, right?
Yeah.
But like, okay, so this will hopefully help me just go, okay, pickle hobs were cool. They're gone now. And so now these very much kind of fantasy up these Perry miniatures. They're also scaled for Perry miniatures. It was
good.
real difficult to find.
Yeah.
Because everything's like 28 millimeter heroic size, and I'm like, I don't want a giant bubblehead on these
And
things.
Perry's more like 25? Or?
Perry's 28, but Perry's like true 28.
Oh,
like
right,
it's
right,
28 to like the eyes,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
the heroic style, right? Where it's like they're up here, right?
Right, fist
Anyway.
as big as your head.
Yeah,
and
exactly,
right.
exactly. Yeah, the fists on Perry things are tiny. I'm like, do you even have fingers? Yes. Oh my god. Anyway, but that's kind of revitalized me,
Okay.
or at least energized me a little bit. So that's what I'm talking about now on Twitter. I'm still trying to write up lists and get stuff done and convince myself to not order more boxes of Perry miniatures, right? Anyway,
Nice.
so
Excellent.
how about you?
So I'm still doing my single panel gag cartoon and putting together the 20th anniversary
Yes.
collection this year. So that's Abuse Cartoons. And you can find the live stream Monday nights on either Twitch or YouTube, and I guess Facebook as well. And so I draw the cartoon and chat and eat things from the convenience store.
All at the same time, which is
Yes.
impressive.
It is. My everything is covered with powdered cheese or seaweed or whatever. But
Mayonnaise if it's here.
right. So abusecartoons.com and gocomics.com/domestic abuse for the archive of everything that's been going on the last 20 years. And if you want to support what we're doing here with the weekly, please visit upturnedtable.com. And you can also support us by becoming a weekling on Patreon. So patreon.com/upturnedtable. And let us know what you'd want to see more of. If there's any like new segments or something that you'd like to see us do within a lunchtime schedule,
Yeah.
we would love to do that. And so on all social media, Upturned Table, and that will do it for this
Yeah,
week.
and thanks for using that affiliate link.
Oh,
It'll allow
yes.
us to buy Blaster Volume 4.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so more sludge rules are coming. Yeah, yeah. So please, to support the cast and the whole channel, there's a Drive-Thru RPG affiliate link in the description. So click on that if you order anything. It doesn't cost you anything, and it gives us credit on the store, so we can order things to review and play and all that good stuff.
Yeah, awesome. Cool.
All right. So see you next time.
Later, mortals.
Goodbye. All right. So
Cool.
we'll click over. Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Awesome.
So see you next time, Chris.
Woo.
And here's a little treat. The same treat as last week, but here's a little treat. So, Chris. Oh, hey, Orcus is leaving. So see you later, Orcus. Thanks for stopping by. I'm glad the schedule worked. Nice. So Matt's been reading the Dungeon Crawl Classic PDFs. Oh, nice. Oh no, they're having warehouse trouble. That doesn't sound great. Yeah, I think everyone is. Well, in the U.S., I think shipping there's a whole breakdown of the postal system in the U.S. because they started to eliminate distribution centers and stuff. So instead of 3 days, it's like minimum 5 days. Stuff in the mail. But yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait for. Yeah, I ordered, or I could add the what is it called? The new, the first time user, the first time play, the kit that they made with the core rules. I think it's paperback core rules, a GM screen, an adventure, and dice. I added that to the 100th adventure that they just kickstarted with the circular rotating dungeon. So hopefully that'll get fulfilled reasonably. Yeah, who knows though? You got to give everybody plenty of time now. Oh yeah, and just to reiterate for Orcus, maybe not here anymore, but yeah, it doesn't matter. The platform I'm looking directly at this time the YouTube chat, but I can also have a combined chat where I can check Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube as well. So it doesn't matter. Just your platform of choice is fine. Just at this stage, maybe YouTube works a little bit better, and we don't have a partnership on Twitch, so it's not as valuable. It doesn't help the channel as much, basically. All right, and Alvaro, good to see you. And right, Alvaro's been playing the AlienRPG the last few Saturday nights. That's great. Yeah, those novel tie-ins sound really fun. Yeah, they're actually giving you a 1-act scenario in a novel. That's great. That's going to sell. I think it's going to sell a lot more books because, that's value added. That's pretty cool. Yeah, and finally being able to socialize face-to-face is great. All right. Yes, this is a very heavy table. The thing I really respect, though, about Awakened Realms with their boxes is everything goes back in the box. Like, they really do a good job of making, their vacuum form trays and everything stack really well. You could see on the unboxing that I did for this how well they're designed, because they do, hexes, have hex tiles and everything, and those all just stack in a little space in the trays. So immediately that was and that's right. I think this was the box that when I first opened it, the lid sat a couple inches off of the bottom, and I was worried. It's like, whoa, is this a design error? Is this how it's supposed to be? But once you punch out all the tokens and everything, they fit safely in the trays. So to have all of that cardstock and everything on top, they needed to, have the box ship with the lid not quite fitting on top. But then once you punch everything out, and it all slots in the trays, and then it closes, very normally. So that was very surprising. And they packaged their stuff. Oh, that was an interesting thing though. So they packaged for EU, and then that, and whatever shipped to Asia, Australia. They packaged them really well because they're in a box that's all lined with foam and has a lot of protective. It's just everything between the boxes, between the shipping box and everything. But I was getting comments in that unboxing that the North American distributor did not protect the boxes as well. So people were getting really damaged, messed up, very poorly packed shipments. So that's very difficult. I mean, I guess it's unavoidable if you're using different distributors for different parts of the world, but to be able to maintain that quality so people can anticipate like what you get, because every time I've gotten something from Awakened Realms, it's arrived in perfect condition. Like, there's been no shipping problems at all. But I guess that's not always the case. So it just depends on, and there might be some scrambling, to do fulfillment for certain things in certain parts of the world. So your mileage may vary, which is something that, you don't want to do on Kickstarter, because you've got vicious comment section where people are just going to be ripping into you for sending you, broken games and battered boxes. So that's crazy. Yeah, so Orcus said, hopefully the novels will bring to the world the life beyond the movies. Yeah, that was provided in the core. Yeah, I want to see like how they're, how the setting and how they're setting up the corporations. I think, the comics talked a little bit about that. And I think, that exists in the IP, but I haven't seen, or I haven't listened to any, audiobooks based on novels or read any comics that really fill in the tensions between the different corps and everything. Because, there is one corp that basically provides the colonial marines and, there's so there is some dynamics there that I'm not quite aware of because we haven't really seen them in the films. The films have just been horror movies. But, and Dwam says, like most horror works, I feel less is more. So losing a little bit of the impact with every expansion. Oh, that's an interesting point too. Yeah, if things are over-explained, if you're getting too much of the setting, that is a little bit distracting because you're looking at details instead of, the kind of the mystery and the unknown. Just being space truckers and colonial marines and, scientists and corpos, works well. And once you start fleshing that out, that's good for the RPG, but that may not, once you know too much about that universe, that's true. It may take away some of that tension and the horror of the game may not work as well because you're still, but I gotta contact my home office. The Alien prequels are a very explicit example. I would agree. I think they did some damage to that universe with Prometheus and Covenant. Brutal. All right, but we did get to see James Franco catch on fire. All right, so that's a really good point. And Matt said, really hope Embracer Group doesn't buy Free League. Yeah, but I bet they are on the list. Yeah, it's all Scandinavia. It's all it's Swedish. Yeah, so it's Swedish based. So that is scary. Hopefully, Free League has their management and everything under control and doesn't have too much greed running around where they're just looking to cash out. I think if Free League got to the point where they were realizing, well, we're doing things too well and our profits aren't as big as they could be, and maybe we'll just cash in if things get too brutal as far as they're being able to just ship games and everything and get things produced. Those guys are embracing everything, Alvaro says. We'll see. I saw the news that they finalized their Dark Horse. The sale of Dark Horse was finalized, and I didn't even realize, that wasn't even well reported, that Dark Horse previously was being held by a Chinese asset management company. So it wasn't like they were going directly from kind of American control to Embracer. They were already being maintained by China, which I guess that's the only thing that could possibly keep the American comic book industry afloat. It's Chinese investment. All right. Oh, right. So, and Orca says that out of all of those games, the Dark Sun SSI games still hold up for the most part. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I'm really, really interested to see what they did with those games and play through them. I enjoy, all of the GOG, kind of remasters or I guess tweaking to get it to actually run on modern PCs. All those old games, especially the old Warhammer fantasy games and stuff. There's some great old stuff. So this will be even. This is late 80s. So this is, early DOS days. So that'll be fun to see. And, I don't know what, I think that, they're talking about there's another 5 ebook coming of an old setting. So we'll get an announcement, I think, this month. Yikes. Matt said about the Baldur's Gate remaster for Xbox a while back. Nice. Yeah, I can't believe. I think for Android, like on a tiny smartphone, they released Baldur's Gate, the one they did for mobile, and it's impossible. Like the text is impossible to read. It's impossible to play because the controls are so tiny. I think they meant it for a tablet, but they didn't restrict the release to a certain screen size. So with a little like 5.5 inch smartphone, you can try to play the mobile version of Baldur's Gate. Nice. So Orcus said, yeah, Baldur's Gate is wildly different than like Pool of Radiance, as much as my nostalgia doesn't want to admit it is also wildly superior. Oh, interesting. And also Dawn said, Beamdog hit the nail with the releasing Baldur's Gate, even though they are probably go full nostalgia market. Yes. Oh, Dave. Hey, Dave. I remember playing the old Gold Box games. If I recall correctly, some of them had party carryover feature already. Oh, nice. Although I think you lost all of your gear moving from one game to another. Yeah, interesting. So if that still existed, yeah, I wonder if they're just going to, keep that, maybe between, the sequels of certain campaigns or progression of certain games. It'd be insane if you could move through all the games with the same party. Interesting. A lot of floppy disk swapping. That's right. This is all games on floppies. Nice. Well, thanks, Dave, for that. I didn't know that. Orcus says, I highly doubt the SSI game would be a platform for a 5e launch, but it's safe to assume that it actually will be a totally different take. Yeah, and it's going to be definitely a relic of its time, but I think it'll give, if there are, new players that are curious about, what was going on, because that kind of back and forth that started happening in the late 80s, kind of between what you could do on a PC, because it was, they could basically just program the mechanics of the pen and paper game into a PC game. So yeah, very interesting. But we will see. Swapping floppies. Nice. Dwan said, Al-Qadim, oh no. Yeah, I don't think the Wizards is probably involved at all. Yeah, they're probably heavily sanitized. Yeah, right. Oh, that's interesting because, because it is D&D, I'm sure they have, some money has to go to them or whatever. But I wonder if this is the source code from these original games that they somehow acquired and they're, bringing them to modern systems. Hopefully they're going to leave everything untouched. But if Wizards, had to be involved, they would definitely be doing some sanitizing like they're doing with everything. Yeah, interesting. Nice. So Alvaro says, what do I use for Alien vs. Predator? Forged in the Dark or Year Zero? Yeah, right. Oh, man. Yeah, I wonder. I think Year Zero would. I mean, the Alien rules for weapons and your gun jamming and stuff, I think would work really well. But yeah, directly for Alien versus Predator. Well, actually, you could use the two different rule sets, right? The Alien and the Predator can be rolling completely different dice. Nice. Yeah. Me too, Matt. I'm definitely looking forward to the Blade Runner pre-order. I want to see more information about that. Nice. And Matt's telling Chris, go to work for Kickstarter, get paid once a year based on a Kickstarter campaign to fund your check. Yeah, that's what they have. It's all crowdfunding. Your check is crowdfunded as well. Great. Well, I'm glad I'm glad Orcus could join us. Nice. And Avara said the Dungeon Crawl Classic Adventure sounds insane. Thankfully, a friend of mine is running it. He already pledged. Oh, very cool. And Matt asked, have you ever had Japanese customs open your games before you got them? Yeah, almost everything I've ordered that's come from Kickstarters or anything. And I think because if they're X-raying or they're shaking these boxes or whatever customs does, it's very suspicious. Like especially Kickstarters, it's a large quantity of games. So they're probably checking that this isn't some kind of wholesale order that's being kind of, trying to be brought in as a gift or whatever. That it's, it needs to be declared directly. So almost all of my games and big boxes, almost 100% eBay, anything that I get through eBay. But a lot of Kickstarter games have the reseal tape. But fortunately, Japanese Customs is very kind. Like, they haven't screwed anything up. There hasn't been anything missing. They examine stuff very carefully and put it all back. So, especially because a lot of those Kickstarters are very intricately, like, everything just perfectly slots into the shipping box. But yeah, they do open a lot. And I think because there's a lot of things, I got the thing I got the most screwed on is I ordered for our group when we were all playing Netrunner. I did a big order from a American company, I think based in Georgia, that did acrylic tokens. So this is early in the days before people started having laser cutters and ways to do tokens themselves. But this company was producing their own original tokens for a lot of different card games and stuff. It was kind of the height of the living card game, Fantasy Flight era. So we were all playing Netrunner, and we wanted to get these tokens. They're really, really overpriced. And but when they came in, they had a huge tariff. They had a huge, tax duty put on top of them. So not only were they ridiculously overpriced for just like, little acrylic tokens, but they then got hit. And I think it's because the quantity of them, and they looked very much, like they could be resold. But I didn't know what they were considering them, because when they charge a duty to something, they're referring to some specific list of things that are taxable. Like I think jeans, like if you order certain things like jeans or certain types of clothes or certain types of housewares from abroad into Japan, they'll always put an additional tax on them to protect the domestic market. And the worst I ever got hit was so everybody like paid too much for these tokens, plus we had to add the duty on top of that, so everyone had to pay like $5 more for everything. It really sucked. But that was the worst I've ever been hit. And I think as a Games Workshop order, I think one of the big like starter sets or something, I ordered that and something else, and got maybe because of the price of Games Workshop, it was over a certain monetary threshold, so they charged for importing a board game or whatever they considered it. But yeah, that's the worst situation I've had. But well, it was great. It was great to see everybody in the chat, and hopefully we'll see you guys again next week. And thanks so much for supporting us. Thanks for being members on the YouTube or the Patreon, and that's of course patreon.com/upturntable. So anyone that wants to see the kind of behind the scenes stuff, and like I was saying, the audio for this is all put on the RSS feed for the Patreon, and so it's cleaned up a little bit, so it's easier to listen to than it comes across on this live stream. But this live stream will still exist in the archive if you want to see the the stunning visual element. But anyhow, we'll be back again next week with more stuff to talk about, and it's not going to be a live stream, but I will be interviewing the Chronopia guys and have that posted as soon as possible, because their Kickstarter is out the 29th. It begins the 29th of this month. So the demo set will be arriving. So you'll see us playing some Chronopia, painting some Chronopia, and talking to the guys that are reviving the game. So it'll be a little bit of Chronopia, and I have a little bit in the works. I'm still in the middle of my Bauhaus Megacorp profile script, and I think I want to do, just because of the Kickstarter and the kind of the timeliness of this, a little beginning of a Chronopia lore thing. So there might be a little bit of interruption in Mutant Chronicles, because I think Mutant Chronicles Kickstarter is going to be later. I think that's going to be April. I can't believe these guys are doing these games at the same time. That's going to divide some customers. All right, but yeah, so look forward to some Chronopia stuff on the channel. I'm excited to see how these guys are approaching things, because they talked a lot about it a year ago, but now is the Kickstarter, so things have to be much more nailed down. So yeah, look for that soon. I'll be talking to them tomorrow night, and then get you all of those juicy details as soon as I can get them all cut up. So yeah, everybody, take care, and it was good to see you all. And yeah, take care, Matt. Oh, Unknown Girl, hey. Oh, thank you. I got your email with all of the edited video. Thank you so much for doing that. I'll reply to you and get back to you for the for how those worked. I don't know if a minute of me is is a very thing that anybody wants to watch. We'll find out. We will find out soon, won't we? But yeah, thank you so much for your work doing that. That's so sweet to help me get that going. Very cool. So yeah, the interview is coming. So yeah, hopefully our internet connections will work well. So take care, everyone. And yeah, very good to see you all. We'll be back next week. And it looks like, yeah, Chris and I are on a roll. I think we're getting less disruption from Chris's schedule and the world. So we'll be back next week. Take care, everyone. Goodbye.